A billionaire took an interest in me, hoping I would become his son's partner. He wished for me to help educate his son, who had a bad habit of wasting money. He asked if I could bear this heavy responsibility. It was laughable to me from today on. As long as that son dares to flirt with girls, I'll teach him Allison while enjoying skewers at a street stall with my best friend, who was engrossed in her phone, making TSK sounds. She pointed the screen at me. Look to the National Young Master. Has changed girlfriends again, she said. On the screen was news about the billionaire's son, Barton. The photo showed him more handsome than any big star, with a demeanor that made anyone called out young master. Yet, this individual was a wastrel, changing over a dozen girlfriends a month with both money and looks. He was indiscriminating in his choices. Each break up cost him a hefty sum. I couldn't care less and downed another drink. Already feeling a bit dizzy, my best friend nudged me and raised an eyebrow. What if he were your husband? What would you do? Her words instantly woke me up. If it were the wife of Barton, this stupid wastrel, and he dared to find girlfriends, I'd break his legs. He's also terrible at stock trading, losing money on every investment. If he were my husband, I'd definitely keep an eye on him. If he dared to find mistresses, I'd make sure he regretted it. I'll look at his dark circles. His body can't handle such a lifestyle. I ranted, getting more excited as I spoke, struggling to control myself. Suddenly, my friend's eyes widened in horror, and she looked at me with a terrified expression, frantically blinking. I burped and asked, "What are you having a twitch in your eyes?" And his father, such an idiot, with only one son and not knowing how to discipline him properly. If it were his mother, I'd slap him and then hurry to have a second child. I continued, unable to contain my excitement. Suddenly, someone tapped my shoulder from behind. I think you make some good points. Would you be willing to take care of him for me? Who? I squinted and turned around, dropping my bottle of alcohol to the ground in. Shocked, standing behind me was a middle-aged man in a white shirt, with a piercing gaze and a familiar statured Martin, the Texan billionaire. Who can tell me why the Texan billionaire is here, eating at a street stalls? My friend covered her face and quickly fled. Don't be afraid, Martin said sternly. Thank you. They're making a lot of sense. How about it? Would you be willing to be his? My eyes lit up. His mother? Martin's face darkened. His wife? Martin took me to the Apravate Villa, the likes of which I had never seen before. I sat on the sofa, and Martin sat opposite me. After a while, the villa door opened, and Amin walked in a black Gucci t-shirt, holding a chain leash. Martin's son, Barton. He was startled to see us. Dad, what are you doing here? What's this? Martin frowned at the leash. My dog. Haven't you seen it before? Barton exclaimed in surprise, looking for his dog. In no time, a husky walked in lazily. Putting the leashes aside, Barton glass-read at me and looked towards Martin. You're blatantly coming to my place now? Martin's face darkened even more. My wife isn't dead yet. I coughed lightly, feeling I should speak up. So, I carefully said, Barton, right? Come kneel down. Mom wants to talk to you. Barton sees nearly popped out. What does this mean? He glass-read at Martin through clenched teeth. Martin said calmly, hurry up and get to know her. This is your wife. Remember to listen to her from now on. Barton was dumbfounded. Her? He disdainfully sized me up, looking so dude, why? And you want me to listen to her? Dream on. Oh, Martin ignored him, handing me a bank cards. This is for you. All his money will be transferred to this card from now on. What do you mean? Barton was confused. Martin looked at him calmly. narrowing his eyes. From now on, your money will be managed by your wife. Even the cars and houses in your name have been transferred to her. Understand? Barton was furious. Why? Even my dad's money is with my mom. Why should mine be any different? Martin's expression changed. Less nonsense. Don't make me hit you. I was thrilled, holding the heavy gold card in my hand. Is this the weight of money? From now on, this good elf for a nothing is your responsibility. Take good care of him. The money is yours, to spend as you wish. After saying this, Martin, ignoring Barton's strong protests, turned and left. Before leaving, he even gestured to me not to hold back. What you said makes a lot of sense. If he gets beaten to death, I can still hurry up and have Asukan children. It's not too late. The door was then slammed edge shut. Barton had some familial affection, but not much. What does it feel like? Like to become rich overnight? I held the gold card in my hands, too excited, and texted my best friend. I've become rich overnight. My friend immediately replied, if you Ray kidnapped, just blink. Even if I really was kidnapped, blinking wouldn't help you see it, would it? After explaining the entire situation to my best friend, she was so shocked she couldn't speak. I'm starting to feel sorry for Barton, having you to discipline him. He's going to have to make up for all the childhood he lacked. It disagreed. I'm very gentle, you know. Hey, you there, came a dissatisfied voice from behind. He turned around and saw Barton wrapped in Abath towels, his ABS partially visible, smiling at me. Do I look good? You look good, I honestly replied, and added, my name's Judy. He was indeed handsome, Judy. Sister Barton approached me, the scent of citrus shower gel wafting from him, and leaned close to me. I'm about to have a nose bleeding. Can I have the money? Hearing this, I immediately sobered up, hugging the gold card tightly, and spat out a word. Scram. He might look good, but definite not as good as money. Trying to seduce me? He had miscalculated. I'd been through all sorts of things in society for over a decades. My heart is strong now. Unless it's about money. Barton's face turned black instantly. You don't want your face. Is that it? That's my fucking money. Scram. I repeated. Barton cursed angrily, his face turning red. If you were a man, I'd have beaten you by now. I proudly raised my head. If it were Amen, I couldn't be your wife, could I? Scram. Now it was his turn to say it. Waking up the next day with a huge dark circle under my eyes. I was too excited to sleep well the previous night. The villa's door was knocked. I opened the door while yawning and saw Amen in a black suit standing there. Miss Judy, right? I am York, Mr. Barton's secretary. This is Mr. Barton's scar. Keys and villa keys. Chairman Martin asked me to deliver them to you. Before I could react, York handed me a handbag filled with various keys, which I almost dropped. Task completed. York said stylish lie and left, holding the heavy handbag. I took the elevator down to the basement garage, pressing the switch at the entrance. The lights illuminated layer by layers. In the next moment, the bag in my hand dropped to the floor. A parking space as large as a huge amusement park was filled with all kinds of luxury cars, with not a singling Mercedes-Benz or BMW in sight. The lowest grade was a Porsche 911. Online, everything from Ferraris Rolls-Royces, McLarens, to Maseratis was available. I was stunned. This is the wealth of a billionaire's son, holding the bag full of keys. I returned upstairs and casually locked the keys in a room. Then, I made myself a bit of breakfast. Soon, Barton came down, rubbing his eyes. Seeing me, his face darkened immediately. Why haven't you left yet? I smiled slightly, lifting the villa keys in my hand. Sorry, this is my house now. Barton cursed, grabbed his jacket from the sofa, and said, "If you're here, then I'm leaving, okay? Where are you going?" I stopped him. "I'm your wife." "Where are you going?" "I'm fucking going to the bar. Don't follow me," he said before turning to left after stepping out. He suddenly roared, "Where the fuck are my keys?" "Right here with me." Elod, Barton glass-read at me fiercely before leaving. I randomly picked a key from the room, chose Amclaren from the underground garage, and headed straight for the bar. Little things. If you don't straighten up today, you're really tough. Before going to the bar, I took a tour to the largest mall in the southern province, selecting a whole new outfit for myself. Looking in the mirror, I had to admit, I really did. Looking good with this attire. I even carried a bit of an heiress. Sarah about me. Well, who could blame me? Barton's assets were now under my control. By the time I arrived at the bar, more than an hour had passed. Barton must have been having ableist by then. It was my turn to make an entrance. "Hello, who are you looking for?" The waiter came up to greet me promptly. With a gentle smile, I said, "I'm looking for Barton. Could you take me to him?" "Of course, right this way." The waiter led me to the top floor of the bar, to private room 1603, where Barton was. As I approached the door, I could hear Barton's voice. God knows what got into my dad's head, forcing me to marry some bumpkin. It's infuriating. He even gave her all the money. Is this what old age demon Tia looks like? Another voice chimed in a delicate girl's. "Brother Barton, don't be angry. It's just elementary. Deceived by that woman. Rest assured, we all support you." Barton responded. "Only Coral understands me, understands my feet." I could no longer bear it. Kicking open the door of the private room in Erridge and storming in, the chatter inside ceased. Abruptly, Barton was sitting on a sofa opposite the door, with a frail-looking girl clinging to him, and about 4 or 5 guys around, like Barton's spad company. "What are you doing here?" Barton's C's flashed with surprise upon seeing me. Then he spoke with a hint of disdain. "Brother Barton, who is this?" Coral glanced at me, then hugged Barton's arm tighter. "He looks so fierce." "Elod," I declared, "I'm his mother." And before anyone could react, I grabbed a fruit plate from the table and slammed it onto Barton's face. Barton was stunned, angry looking at me before he could finish his sentence. I stepped onto the table, grabbed a handful of his shirts, and yanked him off the sofa, throwing him over my shoulder. With a loud thuds, Barton hit the floor. I've been practicing Taekwondo, Sanda, and Muay Thai since I was 10, reigning as the champion for 14 years. Handling the man who spent his days drinking and flirting was simple. Everyone was shocked, especially the girls clinging to Barton, who gulped nervously, trembling in fear. "Damn it," Barton cursed as he tried to get up, but I casually sat on his back. He couldn't stand up with his hands pressed against the floor, lighting a cigarette for myself. I smiled gently. "Hello, I'm Barton's wife, Judy. Apologies for the lack of discipline. I'm here to make amends today." The crowd mumbled, losing their earlier swagger. "Sister, in the law is quite impressive." Indeed. I nodded, taking a deep drag, and looked at the trembling little girl, scared by my gaze. "Sister," she shuddered. I'm his wife. You knew that, right?" I knew. The little girl retreated, knowing that and still clinging so close to him. "Do you think I am a vegetarian?" Startled by my shout, the girl began to cry. I shook my head internally. This generation of girls is too fragile. I'll let you off this time. I snuffed out the cigarette and stood up, and Barton collapsed with a thud. "Next time I see you, I'll break your legs." The girl nodded frantically while crying and left. He pulled Barton up from the floor, smiled comfortably at the others. Sorry for the intrusion today. We'll play another time. As Barton called out for help, the others just solemnly bid me goodbye. Sister-in-law. See you next time. Ignoring Barton's pleas. What use are you guys anyway? Barton rolled a red in frustration. I slapped him too, shut him up and drove him back to the villa. On the sofa in the living room, Barton crouched Ed in a corner. Had fun today? I asked with a smile. No, not at all. Barton grimaced Ed. I sighed and patted his shoulder, making him shiver. You know, Barton, we Ray technically husband and wife now. Or at least in a relationship, right? There are things I really don't want to resort to violence for. You can see, I'm a very gentle person. I won't hit someone unless absolutely necessary, right, Barton? With a look of unspoken grievances. Nodded. Satisfied, I smiled. See, you have me, yet you still go after others. Women deserves a beating, doesn't it? Although Barton and I were more of a transactional couples, I was also tasked with changing him. Standing aspect of dust in my eyes. As long as we were together, if he dared to find another woman, his legs would be broken next time. Men need to be disciplined. Just as Barton was about to speak, I narrowed my eyes, and he hastily nodded in agreement. Right? You think you deserve it too. So, what would happen if you went after other women again? Gradually coaxing him. He nearly lost himself before admitting he'd still be punished. Right? I comforted, patting his head, amused by the quality of his hair, reminiscent of petting a dog. Remember this lesson and don't do it again. It hurts me whenever you're with other women. Barton nodded. Okay? I laughed inwardly at this wastrel's lack of stamina and intellect. No wonder his business ventures were failures. Good. Now sign this contract. It pulled out a contract from my bag and handed it to Barton, who looked confused. What's this? A set of rules, I explained, crossing my legs. From now on, if you break any of these rules, you'll lose your allowance and receive a beating. Barton jumped up, his demeanor suddenly fierce. Judy, this is exploitation. Is there no law against this? I'll break my vow of not hitting women today. We Ray about to see what domestic violence is. I scoffed. Think you can? Damn it, Barton cursed, rolling up his sleeves and lunging at me. It kicked him away, sending him flying, holding his stomach. He laid about 4 or 5 meters away. You really hit me. What else? I retorted. You came at me. I'm fragile and easily frightened. Don't scare me, fragile? My S. Barton grumbled, getting up and biting his shirt, revealing bruises on his ABS from my kick. Seemingly a legitimate self-defense. Hey, it's not like you didn't want to spar. I coughed, clearing my throat. Barton, teeth clenched, asked, what do you do for a living? Kid, you tell. Your wife might be a full-time housewife after marriage, I said, seeing Barton's resentful gaze. I relented. Fine, I'm a Santa coach. Current lie on the national team. Impressive, Barton remarked, looking at me with mixed feelings. My dad is agog for finding you to manage me. I modestly played it down. That night, after Barton showered, he laid on the bed waiting for me to apply medicine. I rubbed some on him, impatiently asking him to shut up. Barton, feeling wronged, complained about being hit twice already. All right. It glanced at him. The kid's got a good physique and looks. He's got everything but brains. With you like this, how will you ever get married? After applying the medicine, Barton muttered, ferocious as a tiger. Don't worry. I comforted him. I'll try to marry you. He reacted in shock. In the following days, Barton was noticeably more subdued. Aside from rolling his eyes at me, he hardly went out. His news behavior made me itch for action. I hadn't bit anyone in days and felt restless, so I dragged him out shopping with me. I didn't want to. I don't want to, Barton protested, clutching his blanket, stubborn, refusing to budge. I glass-read him. Are you going or not? If you don't, I'll beat you. Why should I? I haven't done anything wrong, Barton protested. I chuckled, pulling out the contract and swiftly adding a new clause. If Judy requests, Barton must accompany her, or else he gets beaten. Barton yelled. You implementing tyrannical clauses now? Have you no shame? I'm warning you. Judy, I have my pride too, he asserted. An arrow ed my eyes and raised my arm, causing Barton to leap up and urge me to hurry. Aren't going shopping? Show a bit of spine, won't you? His courage was limited, especially since the parking lot on the second basement floor was deserted. As Barton and I had just parked and were walking away, a van rushed towards us from behind, nearly hitting me. Barton cursed loudly at the driver with a screech. The van stopped, and 7 or 8 people descended. Damn, how can so many people fit into such a broken van? Barton was dumbfounded and, realizing the danger, whispered urgently, We're done for, let's run. I didn't run, and neither did Barton, but for different reasons. I was afraid, while he simply failed to escape. Before it knew it, a burly man had grabbed Barton and thrown him into the van. Damn it, help me. They ignored me, sped off, and left me alone, pondering, is this what they call kidnapping? A strange mix of surprise and excitement welled up within me. What's happening? I suddenly realized the gravity of the situation and started chasing after the van. Are you blind? There's a person right here. Why not kidnap me too? Unexpectedly, I found myself in the van as well, despite its size. The van was packed, almost enough for 2 basketballs. Teams of Barton sat beside me, his expression a mix of anger and disbelief. Are you an idiot? Why didn't you call the police? Why the hell did you get on? You know nothing. Stupid dog, quit barking. Igla read at him. One of the kidnappers couldn't help but laugh. Never seen someone so eager to get kidnapped. Which asylum did you escape from? Before I could respond, the apparent leader of the kidnappers scolded him, laughing at what? Kidnapping is serious business. Keep it serious. The laughter faded, but it found its way to my face, earning me a kick from one of the kidnappers. Why the hell are you laughing? I'll endure. Wait until I figure out who's behind this. If I didn't break your legs today, you lucky, I threatened, though the windows were sealed and I couldn't see outside. After a confusing ride, we stopped. Were dragged into an abandoned factory and had our phones confiscated. Before I could react, I was kicked from behind, landing on Barton, who screamed, Damn, not again. Furious, I turned to face the kidnappers. Had the guts too. Tell me who you are. The kidnappers arrogantly didn't change his name or hide his face. I'm Darren, he declared. Darren, huh? I'll remember you. IZ the D, the leader smacked Darren on the head. You idiot. You're a kidnapper. Why the hell? Are you giving out your name? Yeah, why indeed? Darren saw the meds perplexed. Leaders threatened us menacing lie, ensuring our compliance with his harsh warnings. I sat on the ground, clearing my throat with an arrogant demeanor. Who sent you? Do you know who he is? He's Martin the billionaire's biological son. You dare to kidnap him? Are you seeking death? Barton nodded frantically in agreement. The kidnappers just laughed and approached. Barton the billionaire's son. Huh? Barton, looking up, declared confidently, Not only did I dare to kidnap, but I also dare to hit. Saying that, a kidnapper slapped Barton across the face, leaving him in shock. Enraged, I exclaimed, What the hell? You dare hit the billionaire's son? Wait till the billionaire comes after you. You think I am scared? The kidnappers retorted, slapping Barton again. It just did. What will you do about it? Hit him again if you dare. I taunted, furious. Without hesitation, the kidnappers slapped Barton once more. There. I did. What now? The kidnappers saw meds too. Take the challenge literally. A man of his words indeed. Damn you. Have some sense. Before I could finish, Barton started crying, please. For the love of God, stop talking. Barton looked utterly defeated and aggrieved. Why do you always hit me? The kidnappers saw meds to realize the absurdity and turned their attention to me. Damn. Almost got played by you. Who the hell are you? I proudly stated. I'm his fiancé. Looking at Barton, the kidnappers inquired. Your fiancé? Which prominent family's daughter are you? No family. My dad found her on the street. Barton glanced at me. She's useless. My dad definitely won pay a ransom for her. Just let her go. The kidnappers sneered. We were going to ignore her, but since she insisted on coming along, if she's of no use, then it's time to get rid of her. Doran, take her to the back hill. Really not reconsidering? I have many properties and luxury cars in my name. I bluffed. Barton, panic-stricken, hastily interjected, no, I was just kidding. She's useful. Definitely. Tell my dad she's here, and he'll pay for her. Unmoved. Too late, the kidnappers concluded. We're already compromised. Darn, then dragged me out of the factory. Before leaving, I could hear Barton's furious shouts. If you lay a finger on her, I'll end you once I'm out. Dorn pushed me into the woods behind the factory, smirking menacingly, suggesting a final moment of pleasure before death. Sure. How do you want to enjoy yourself? I asked, feigning cooperation. Caught off guard, Doran laughed, which was ABS abruptly cut short when it kicked him in the groin and smashed Eric into his mouth, knocking out several teeth. With a stick, I knocked him unconscious and kicked him, reminding him to tie better knots as a kidnapper. Next time, armed with a handy sticks, I hummed back towards the factory, hearing chaos inside. Judy, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I'll avenge you. Barton's voice echoed Ed with despair. The kidnapper's irritation was palpable, threatening to silence Barton's lamentations. I kicked open the factory door, finding Barton pinned down. About to be hit, the kidnappers turned in shock, questioning Darren's where circles. He stood at the entrance, ready to confront them. Barton was overjoyed. Judy, you're okay. I burned his head, the stick in my hand. If you're talking about that guy who couldn't keep it in his pants and was a bit of an idiot, then he's probably bleeding out. By now, you're asking for it. The kidnappers were enraged, advancing towards me with makeshift weapons. I counted them. 6 men, no guns. How does the saying go? In martial arts, speed is unmatched beyond 7 steps. A gun is quicker within. It's both accurate and faster. So, without guns, they posed no threat. Barton, worried, shouted, you run first. Don't worry about me. Run my feet, I tapped the stick, sneering. In life, if you don't bow, you fight in a dazzling world full of temptations. If you lack strength, don't lose face. Roughly 3 minutes later, 6 kidnappers laid in various states of injury on the ground. The most severely injured probably never. I stand again after. Discarded my broken stick. Barton, watching me approach, gulped nervous lie. It glanced at him disdainfully. You're such an coward. Then, I untied him. This is how pathetic you are. Can't even untie a butterfly knots yourself. After freeing him, I searched the kidnappers for phones, called the police, and sat waiting quietly for rescue. Barton edged closer. So you're this tough? Were you holding back when you hit me? If I'd hit you for real, You wouldn't he be alive? I said. Even that throne in the bar was cushy one. With my legs, you're not even worth my punches. Unfazed, Barton moved closer, flashing a charming smile. Then, could you teach me? In case I get kidnapped again. Maybe I could handle it myself. After a moment's thought, I dismissed the idea. You can't. Even untied act not. Barton fell silent. His male pride seized Ming Lai. Bruised. You could learn. I added, but tuition isn't free. And no refunds if you quit. Why are you charging me? He protested. As your fiancé, isn't your money mine too? Elad. Not necessarily. Who says a look down on you? Maybe one day your dad will send me packing. Who says a look down on you? Barton blurted out, then quickly looked away, his ears reddening. I teased. Attracted by my bravery, huh? Fallen for me? Shut up. Soon police sirens blared, and officers arrived with guns drawn, only to find the defeated kidnappers. What happened here? The lead officer started, then recognized me. Judy teacher. Confused. I wondered if the officer knew me. Removing his helmet, he revealed a handsome face with a look of surprise. It's Sam. I was started led before joining the national team. I had taught martial arts at Apollo's Academy, Sam being one of my students. It had been years since we'd last met. Barton, annoyed, inquired about Sam's identity. You know Barton? Before I could explain, Barton interjected proudly. You're the student of my fiancé? Then you should address me respectfully. The room fell silent. It managed as meal. Finding Barton's introduction somewhat accurate but advised, let's not do that again. After giving our statements at the police station, we were released, being the victims. As we were leaving, Sam hurried out to catch up. Teacher, I never got your contact information back in the team. It saw a good chance to at each other now. Sure, I agreed without much thought. And after adding him as a friend, Barton and I left. Martin the billionaire was waiting for us at home. Walking along, I suddenly sensed a strange atmosphere and turned to see Barton. His face flushed and eyes glaring at me. Got a problem with your eyes? Need me to smack you to get a new pair? I narrowed my eyes and Barton, puffing with anger, questioned, what's your relationship with that Sam? Why did you exchange contact details? I couldn't help but laugh. Didn't I tell you? He's sort of my student. Yeah, right, student. Barton rolled his eyes sarcastically. Next, he'll be brother. Then, darling, don't start with me. Otherwise, I'll hit you. I'm not even looking at other men. And here you are adding others. After a moment, Barton's anger surfaced. Shouldn't I set an example? Your fiancé is right here. And you Ray blatantly making me a cuckold? Finding it both infuriating and amusing that Barton was actually jealous, I pulled his hand, continuing our walk. Stop being jealous. Sam's been married for 2 years. If I wasn't so busy back then, I would have attended his wedding. I'm not jealous, Barton retorted weakly, letting me lead him by the hand, his face turning even redder. Back at the villa, Martin had been waiting for over half an hour, relieved to see us safe. He gratefully thanked me. It's nothing, I replied modestly. Who was behind the kidnapping? Martin's expression darkened as he nodded. We've been too lenient with them for shares. They dared to do this. I noticed the air around Martin changing, our coming menacing. Despite the time we'd spent together, I nearly forgot he was a Forum ID, able figure in the business world, not just a harmless father. Barton, why are you concerned about me? Barton complained. Martin Glass read at him. Concerned about what? Without you would Judy have been kidnapped? Come here. I have words for you. Barton reluctantly followed Martin upstairs. Curiosity got the better of me, and immediately followed from behind the door. Martin's voice could be heard discussing me with Barton after spending so much time together. What do you think? How should I think? I'll comply with whatever you decide. Barton responded, Damn it. Why weren't you this obedient before? Tell me the truth, do you like Judy? How could I possibly? Barton instinctively denied. Good. Martin said, I'll find someone better. For Judy then, even if she had to settle, she wouldn't choose you. No way. Barton's rage was palpable even through the door. She's already my wife. How could I let someone else have her? Then admit you like her and marry her properly. If she leaves you for someone else, I'll break your legs myself. Ismail to myself. Hearing their conversation unfold, following a loud noise, possibly Barton getting kicked, Martin insisted on getting serious about him. Marriage. The discussion ended with Barton's declaration of his intention to marry me, despite any consequences. I descended the stairs, unable to contain my laughter as I sat on the sofa. Suddenly, footsteps approached from behind, and I found myself swiftly wrapped in a warm embrace. Judy, when will we? Oh, Barton began. But before he could finish, I reflexively threw him over my shoulders onto the ground. Instant lie. I was flustered. Sorry, you surprised me from behind. It was just a reflex. Barton muttered something under his breath. Before getting up, you've hit me so many times. I might be broken. You have to take responsibility now. An odd prompt lie, surprising him. Why agree so quickly? He paused, of course, because I like you too. I confessed with a smile. Half a year later, I discovered I was pregnant. When I returned home with the medical report, Barton had prepared a lavish dinner, concealing the report behind my back. I teased him with a surprise, hinting at an increase in my allowance. Barton was overjoyed, his anticipation palpable. Give me a break. Is colded with Aguilar? You're going to be ad. Barton froze in astonishment, and after a moment, he cautiously asked, A dad to who? I thrust the report at his face. Whose dad do you think? He pinched himself hard, yelping in disbelief before lifting me into the air. Ecstatic about his impending fatherhood. Recently, Barton had been acting oddly, disappearing all day. It was only today, as I played prenatal music to our children and lectured about not emulating his father's wastefulness, that I drifted to sleep in a haze. I heard Barton advising our unborn children against finding a woman like me, lest they end up like him, subject to daily beatings and devoid of pockets. Money. Is it too late to consider marital homicide? I mused. Upon waking, Barton pretended as if nothing had happened and presented a stack of contracts. These are for you, he said, cuddling up to me. Pregnancy is tough. This is my gift to you. Now, you'll be the largest shareholder in the company. It turned out his secretive behavior was all for preparing these documents. My love for him deepened during childbirth. Barton was more anxious than I was, nearly barging in to supervise the doctor, which annoyed me. Can you just relax? I pleaded. Barton, eyes reddened with concern, expressed his willingness to endure childbirth on my behalf. The doctor couldn't help but remark on our affections. After our son David was born, Barton stayed by my side, too anxious to even glance at our son, explaining why David would cry upon seeing him later. On David's first birthday, Barton excitedly prepared for the celebration. David crawled towards Barton, then extracted a bank card from his socks and returned it to me. I teased Barton about his secret stash, leaving him dumbfounded. He joked about getting a paternity tested, inadvertently alienating David even further. 20 years later, I felt our son had gone astray. Not in looks. Indeed, he was more handsome than Barton in his youth, but in lifestyle, He didn't inherit Barton spendthrift ways at all. Instead, he dragging me to dine at food stalls and dress like a pauper. Unwilling to accept this, I attempted to steer him back on track with our wealth. While frugality is a virtue, it seems meta necessary to such an extent. Before David could respond, a girl at Annerby table slammed at her hands down in frustration. "What kind of aristocrat lives like this?" she exclaimed, referencing unused pieces about him. Commuting by subway. If it were his wife, I'd certainly teach him how to spend properly. Saying the moment I approached her from behind and tapped her shoulder, started lead. She dropped her wine glass with gentle smiles. "I teased you seem capable. How about our coming my son's wife?" Years passed and eventually, my son got married. Watching them hold hands, I could enthelp but reflect on the cyclical nature of life, where the end is merely the beginning of another cycle.